So, Michael, have you received any feedback or comment about providing care for First Nation kids as a non-Indigenous person?
Yeah, actually, you get a couple of people who have an issue with it. I've been to some of the, like the Christmas party from Hyockmeath, some of the powwows and that. I get looks or people making comments like, where's his family? To one of the kids I was with, or why are you taking care of them? It should be the family. And I just got to say they're just not able to right now, or they're not available. My company, which was Cedar Valley Community Living, was given the title of Designated Aboriginal Agency. And that's who I worked with. Those are the kids I got. They were all First Nations or mixed First Nations, but that's primarily what they had to be. And I mean, my growing up, my sister and I were both adopted. She's First Nations. My aunties are First Nations. My cousins are First Nations. So in school, it was because we lived outside Montreal. It was pretty much there's a lot of First Nations living there, and that was part of the culture I grew up with. So I was comfortable around that culture, and as a kid, you don't always understand or see what trauma, how it impacts people around you, because you're living with everything. But with the kids we worked with at Cedar Valley, trauma is part of their lives. I mean, you get little kids, like babies would come in. We've had kids from age 2 years old to all the way up to age 18-ish, because they age out at 19, which to me is an arbitrary age for a child, especially when they've experienced trauma. A lot of them are still like a 10 or 12-year-old. So my personal belief, and I've stated this in meetings to MCFD, we had things going on, that maybe by the time they're 25, these kids might be more like an 19-year-old. And even then, would they be able to take care of themselves once they were aged out of care? It's a lot now, especially in our world today. Like, people aren't always either cognizant or accommodating or having enough compassion and empathy to deal with trauma. And they don't understand it, and they're quick to judge. They might discount people's life experiences. They can even be angry at them because they don't want to acknowledge that trauma for the First Nation, especially a lot of the kids whose families went through the residential school system. And it was horrendous what was done to these children. I mean, there was beatings, starvations, sexual assaults, deaths, having your culture beaten out of you. And for a lot of the kids, like cutting their hair it's a sacred thing for First Nations people. And that's what they did. It was a horrendous experience. And that trauma now is generational. It just keeps on going. And the numbers of kids coming into care, the percentage is high. They're being First Nations. And it's not slowing down. It's not stopping. And there needs to be more resources allocated to care for these kids. I think what's being offered to them through places like Hyockmeath and MCFD does not address the level of care they need or the services provided to these kids. Yeah. So I did an interview with CTV several weeks ago, and funny, right after that, one of the nonprofits out here in the Valley offered a course on agency protocols, and it was put on by Hyockmeath, or Fraser Valley Aboriginal Child and Family Services Society, and MCFD. It addresses, as they say in their forms, that everything that they were supposed to have done with the supposed investigation they did and shut down immediately without actually notifying me or anyone else, or providing outcomes or what the basis of an investigation was about. And so they're in the cover your ass mode, and this is what they put on for all the agencies like mine in the Fraser Valley. And this is done with MCFDs and Fraser Valley or Yockmeath, right? And yeah, everything in that course that they put on addresses what they should have done with Cedar Valley Community Living. Nothing like that happened. And I know with another previous protocol how it's supposed to work, and they didn't follow their own rules, which goes against everything that they state they believe in.
So after the CTV News interview, did you receive any update from the agency? Did they reach out to you about anything?
No, they've gone silent. I've had no feedback, no communication from anyone other than one of the social workers I was working with to get refunded for one of the kids' after school learning, which now seems to have gone silent. That's about it, and no one from the management, the directors, the executive director, no one from that agency has bothered contacting me or reaching out.